Hello and welcome back to Cheltenham. Day 3, day 2, another memorable one. One of those days that Shinners and I very fortunate to be here. Sprinter Sacre, not a dry eye in the house. A former champion coming back and winning. You were crying though because you lost a few quid on him.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great story. Nicky Henderson's obviously done a brilliant job. He's such a magnificent looking horse, and the way he bounded up the hill sort of took us back to a few years ago. So yes, it was a shock with Undersur getting beaten. It probably wasn't a great result anyway. We had a better day yesterday. We started well, tailed off a little bit at the end, so we're a little bit behind, but we're going to today with plenty of confidence. Hopefully we can get a couple of results.
Well, hopefully Seb and the boys on the racing desk have actually managed to get a few hours sleep. Panic stations and all those favourites winning late on. Fingers crossed we have a great day today, get a couple of results. Right, on to the racing. If you are punting yourself, you need to know what to back. Michael, we managed to mention pretty much every horse on the first 2 days, so we've tipped up loads of winners. Shinners, can you mention all the horses in the first, please, for us?
Yeah, I certainly can, Dale. I can tell you, I think we're going to go for, in the first race, the 130. Let's go for Black Hercules for Willie Mullins. I mean, the guy's a genius. He knew to put York Hill in the Neptune rather than the Sky Bet Supreme. He was going to go for the 4 miler. He's running this in the 2.5 mile race instead. Ruby Walsh takes the ride. Yes, he fell last time out, but ordinarily he's a very, very good jumper. They'll go off a real good pace here. Bristol de Mai will front run. It'll be more like a 3 mile race, and I think he'll outstay them. So Black Hercules in the first for me.
Okay, Black Hercules for Michael. On to the second, the Potemps. 5 places, of course, with ourselves at Sky Bet. Shinners, looks impossible this one. Get your pin out.
It does, yeah. It's very, very competitive. JP McManus has got a number of horses in there. I think he's got 4 or 5 runners in there. You could make claims for them all. 2 against the field. I like If in Doubt. Again, a JP McManus horse who won just over Christmas. He won a Sky Bet Chase, a race that we sponsor last season. A little bit disappointing over fences, but I think he's really well handicapped. And then one at the top of the handicap, Tagliatelle for Gordon Elliott. Jack Kennedy, a young guy taking £3 off. He's a really good jockey. So those 2 against the field, around about 10s and 16 to 1.
Tagliatelle ran in our race at Scotland, didn't he? Or one of the races at Musselburgh on Scottish Trials Day, and was as an eye catcher, shall we say?
Yeah, an eye catcher. That's the best way of describing it. Would possibly have done, but tender handling, I think, is the best description of it.
Let's move on. Talking of tender handling, Shinners, what are you going for in this one?
I mean, the Ryanair Chase. Obviously, the race looked wide open until Vitor was rerouted here. I think if we're going to get one of the short ones beaten, certainly between this one and Limini, I think this could be the one we may get beaten, because there is a little bit of depth to the race. Vitor, I don't think he's 100%. They're saying he's 90%. There's been rumours that he hasn't been training great, so maybe we might have a chance. I think the obvious one to go against him is Road to Riches. Was placed in last year's Gold Cup. Obviously, Michael O'Leary, who sponsors this race, he owns the horse. So let's try and get a result for the firm. We'll go for Road to Riches.
Oh, taking the favourite. And when you're 90%, you still manage to perform?
Anyway, we've got the 330, we've got the Ryanair World Hurdle. This'll crack, another horse that maybe the ground might just have gone against him. It's going to be a lovely day here, drying. We might get a result. Warren Greytrix, who was obviously on our panel at Leeds, he was really bullish about Cole Harden. It'd be great if he could come back and win again. So many of these horses come back to Cheltenham and year in, year out and run well. So perhaps Cole Harden might just spring a surprise again. So again, around about 6 or 7 to 1. I think he's a cracking each way bet in the Ryanair World Hurdle.
Okay, so Cole Harden for Michael there. The 410. The very nicely named Brown Advisory and Meribel Stable Plate. The plate to Shinners?
Yep, I mean, it's obviously it's wide open. Tips flying around for a few of them. I think Ballycasey might run well on the better ground for Willie Mullins, Ruby Walsh. You've got John Spirit, John Joe O'Neill, of course, who's had a pretty good festival so far. More of that was a little bit disappointing yesterday, but I think there are excuses for that horse. He must have a squeak. And I've done a number of preview evenings. Fingal Bay being tipped up in quite a few places. They'd be the 3 against the field, but it's a really, really tricky race. Plenty of horses you can make claims for, but maybe at the prices, perhaps Ballycasey might be the best bet.
Not the most confident selection of the day. It does look very tough, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's wide open. There's plenty of horses who, have shown a little bit of form this year. You've got Dana who won the race last year for Kim Bailey. Again, I was on another panel there. He thought he'd run better on better ground, but yeah, it's not a race you can be overly confident about.
Yeah, go with the name or the colour or something like that. John Spirit, anybody called John is a good excuse to have a bet on that one. 450, one of the new races, Michael. This is the first time we've ever seen this Mares Novices. Limini, very short price favourite to win it.
Yeah, that's it. To be fair, it's not a great race, in all honesty.
As if you back the winner.
Well, it is, yeah. I mean, Limini's been really well talked up. Willie Mullins, Rich Ritchie, they've got plenty of these sort of Mares Novice hurdlers who they could have run in this race. She runs here. She's very short. She's odds on, but for all intents and purposes, I think she's probably going to win this. The suggestion is that she might win a Gold Cup, not necessarily here, but at Ascot. She's very, very classy. Her jumping's probably not brilliant, but I don't think it would need to be. There is a Northern Challenger in this Smart Talk for Brian Ellison, but I'd be very surprised if Limini doesn't win. And if you like backing short prices, I think she's without a shadow of a doubt the one to beat.
Okay, on to the lucky last. Fingers crossed you've got a few quid to play with. The 5:30, the Kim Muir, very competitive race. Michael, what are we getting out on?
Yeah, I mean it's a shame that Steve Bailey, who's joining the racing team, isn't there, because I know he'd be back in Splash of Ginge. I know Richard Horner likes Silver Grove for Ben Pauling, obviously a horse who's won his last two. Tom David wouldn't be a well-known jockey, but he's certainly more than competent. Cause of Causes is the one that I'm fairly keen on. He's been well talked up. Gordon Elliott, Jamie Codd, who's a brilliant jockey. It was no surprise that all the top jockeys sort of were at the top of the top of the running when we got to the National Hunt Chase. So I think this will happen again. All the better jockeys will come to the forefront. Upswing for Derek O'Connor. That's a selection of price-wise. You could see him going well as well. But yeah, for me, it's just about Cause of Causes for Gordon Elliott and Jamie Codd.
Okay, and the one horse in the last race there, must mention the Giant Bolster. David Ord, Sporting Life editor, that's his favourite horse. Did he back it 66s from a few years ago and it won here?
Yeah, he backs the... I'm not even going to do the impression because I wouldn't want to take it away from him. But he's a massive fan of the Bolster. We actually met one of the Bolster's owners at Toaster, and I know him and Ben Linfoot got on like a house on fire.
Go and get Audie to do his Bolster impression and the roulette wheel. Anyway, hopefully you have a great day. Fingers crossed we actually get a few winners for us, not necessarily the punters. Shinners and I just off to get a bacon butty. Good luck. Take care.